22 years ago, because I'm finding out that now, I fell in love with this brand. I remember not truly understanding what it was watching the video I was watching, but I just knew that this is what I want to do. And I remember my father used to look at me like, did I just give birth to a special child? Because this child is giving autistic Akwala. Is giving Akwala, you know, she's got a lot going on. And I was just telling my guest this morning that it meant a lot to me to wake up on Saturday morning to watch that video play. I said TV3, but I think he corrected me to say it was Metro TV. I would watch this man and just thoroughly enjoy the song without understanding what it was that was going on. I didn't understand the words. I just knew that a man would wake up from his bed and open the window, and it was just great. Ladies and gentlemen, Nii Okai is joining me this morning on the show. I am super, super excited, humbled, and elated. You people call my mother and my father, tell them that I'm no longer their baby, okay? I'm sitting with legends and all of that. You're welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Your career spans over 2 decades. You have contributed immensely. You've gone, reinvented yourself, and shown up. And every single time I have seen you on any stage or watched you be on any stage, you're as good as new.
We thank God. It's just grace. It's just pure grace, and we are just grateful to God. Incidentally, this is my 19th wedding anniversary too. So
goodness gracious,
I'm in very good spirits.
You are.
Yeah.
19 years in marriage. Please tell us about it. Because I'm getting ready to be married, and
you are.
Yes, I am getting ready to be married.
Awesome.
So we are taking lessons from the seniors. 19 years.
Yes.
What would it be? Because again, you know that when it comes to people who are in the public's eye, ministers, and then you're a pastor too.
Yes.
Listen, I'm a pastor's kid. It's difficult. Marriage in general is difficult, by the way. Then you attach the ministry work and all of that. How have you been able to sustain your marriage? Or how do you think that both of you have come together to make this marriage a success for 19 years?
Did we do anything? I think it's God's grace to start with. Yeah, God has sustained us over the period. We've also had good foundations. Our parents, you know, sometimes when you grow up watching something so beautiful, I mean, you have no choice than to continue and make it better. Yeah. And the community that we found ourselves, you know, in, beautiful people inspiring us. Some have done 25 years, some have done 40 years, some have done, you know, 10 years. It's all exciting. And then when the children come, you know, it cements everything that's happening, you know, and we are seeing these young people grow, you know, 19. So our first child is 18 now.
No goodness.
You see, so it's just glory to God for all these years of faithfulness and a good wife. Yes.
I wish you were one of those guests that I could drag into a controversy, but I'm trying to protect your image. But I would ask you, by the way, later. Before we wrap up the show, I'll ask you about it. Because there's a marriage on social media that I think is just, it's sad to watch a beautiful marriage like that, you know, being torn apart. And I'm blaming the woman. I'm completely blaming the woman because she's the one that brought it to social media. But that's not why we're here. Let's talk about, take us back to some 24 years ago. Was that your first video?
It was my first, should I say, solo album.
Solo album.
But prior to that, we had worked on a number of projects together. So I was with the Pearls of Praise choir called the Pop Choir.
Okay.
It was a choir for the PMSU, President Methodist Students Union of KNUST then.
Okay.
And I was a music director. So I produced that album with the help of Koda and some of the other people.
Koda, blessed
yes,
memory.
we were all on campus at that time. So we did this song, very, 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 you know, a song that caught on all the campuses at that time. And then there were a group of us who were friends, Koda included. We called ourselves The Project. We also came up with one of the very first contemporary gospel albums that was ever produced. Koda won Best Male Vocalist that year as students. because of what we did, And then we founded the Harbour City Mass Choir in Tema.
Okay.
So we worked on an album as well with the Harbour City Mass Choir. So we have been group albums. And anytime we're in the studio engineer will say, but you, when are you working on your album? And I said, I don't want to be an artist. I don't see myself as an artist. I see myself as a music director, producer, just getting things done. And they kept telling me that, no, there is something. And most of these guys were not prophets or men of God. These were studio engineers, but they just could tell
that there's more here.
That there's more here. And so one day on my trip back to KNU, I used to go to KNUST a lot when I left for two reasons. Koda and the rest were there, and then I'd found a young woman called Ya who was now on campus.
Reason to go back all the time.
So I kept going. So on one of those trips, I think I was sitting on STC or something. God gave me 10 songs, 10 praise songs. I didn't used to write praise songs, but I just got 10 praise songs, and I knew that was confirmation that I had to work on an album.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was your first solo album?
Yes, first solo album.
And it was one of your biggest hits.
In fact, it's the biggest so far. It was like first big hit, and it's been that albatross,
I mean, we sing it today as though it was produced yesterday.
Yeah, Bokobe never dies. Bokobe is refreshing. So anything I do is benchmark against Bokobe. It's like, we need another Bokobe, but you have to live with it, really.
You really have to.
Yeah.
And you've worked on one very recently. We're going to get into that pretty shortly. But let's stay on being a gospel artist and a reverend now. Do you have your own church, or you're with a church?
So we started our own ministry. So this will be the 8th year.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
How come I've never been to your church? But do you know, ironically,
because
my team sent your bio and your flyer to me, I think about 2 days ago.
Okay.
Prior to this, I was told that we have an interview coming. And then I was on that, is it Oyarifa or Adensa?
Okay.
Road. And then I saw a billboard of you. I said, okay, this is confirmation. Because I'm a very spiritual person, so I believe in some of these things. I was like, because I've never seen anything like a billboard of you. I'd see social media, you're ministering somewhere, but never a billboard. So I was like, okay, but I didn't check the details of, I think it was an Easter something.
Yes, I'm sure it's the Legon Baptist event.
I'm sure.
Or so, yeah.
Because it's just on that stretch. Anywho, but how do you balance ministry life, marriage of 19 years, and your music?
I wish I could say anything apart from grace, but it's simply the grace of God, honestly. I started off combining it with, what we call secular work. I used to work in Standard Chartered. And it was such that I could only record during my leave periods. And those were short periods. I was working with corporate affairs, so it's back to back, And I felt that was a very healthy balance. You get it, because you're not thinking about money when it comes to ministry. You have something going on. In fact, there were editorials written about me at the time, Nii Okai, combining banking with music and everything. And so my colleagues used to say that I'm sheltered, so somehow, I'm not living with the realities of the industry. But then God will
stay in the reality.
Mercy. But then God will just shake me out of my comfort zone and say it is time. In fact, I knew that eventually I would move into mission, but I thought it would be, later years.
Yes.
But suddenly I realized it was time, and just like Abraham, it wasn't like, okay, move from here and go and do this, but it's more of come away and I'll show you what you would do. So it was tough. It was after we got married in 2007. I left the bank in 2010. We had
3 years after.
a child, and then I think the second one either was in the stomach or just about coming. And I had to make that bold move out there, just trusting God that He had an assignment, a next assignment for me. It took me 2 to 3 years to figure out exactly what He wanted me to do. At the time, the likes of Na Messi, who I just featured, MOG Music, Kofi Kakari, Eugene Zuta, the rest, they were all in my team backing me during that period. And they all were looking forward to, having a life like mine. And I said I was leaving the corporate world to go and do mission. It was tough.
Said it has a working.
Yeah. It was tough. You couldn't explain yourself to people. But eventually, when I got to school, Akrofi Christola in Ekropon to study theology and mission, I began to understand that God just wanted my fuller attention. And I just had to follow him every step of the way because he was going to reveal it, moment after moment. He's not going to give you the full picture. So for many, at that time, it felt like I had ditched music or gone under. I was still working on albums, still doing my music, but this time around, it wasn't on showbiz platforms. What has been called to us was going from high school to high school through the agency of music and reaching these young ones.
Wow.
So that's what we've been doing since, prior to 2010, we're doing it, but on a smaller scale, but now it's been a core part of our ministry.
Okay.
And then eventually we moved also into philanthropy, raising funds to fund surgeries for needy children under 10 years to mark 10 years of Mokobe. So that was sometime in 2013.
Okay.
And in doing that album, that was when I got my first VGMA award for, I think it was sponsored by the Bank of, the World Bank for Development. Because of that.
Of the year.
Yes, because of that project, So then I knew that the whole thing had changed. It wasn't anymore about me as a person or as an artist, but about the assignment, the mission that we've been given. And when I thought that was the worst that could happen, the Lord now put a burden on me to start church.
Goodness.
That was tough.
Goodness.
That was tough. So that has been the journey. What has been constant is the music. Every step of the way, the Lord gives me music, gives me songs to write for myself, for people, for the church, and all. But with ministry, it's just been growing and expanding from one level of responsibility to the other. So it's been like that. It's just getting deeper with the Lord, getting to understand these things. And it's interesting getting to know who your father is, because we met somewhere in Worcester, and he blew my mind, after my ministration. He just got everybody sewing into my ministry. That was an awesome time. So we give God glory for how far we've come, but it's just following his lead every step of the way.
Indeed. And I'm really excited that we get to have this conversation. My career has taken, a whole new turn, guys. Watch this space. But we want to be very fair and honest with ourselves this morning. The gospel industry has evolved. A lot of things have changed. How have you been able to adapt to the, ever-changing, music industry, and then also the gospel space as well, whether it's audience, the digital introduction to marketing music, and all of that. How have you been able to?
It goes without saying that we've been ahead of our time for quite a while. So, as at the time people were into cassette tapes, we're very much into CDs. And I remember my distributor at the time saying that, you can have all the royalties from the CDs because it's not fetching anything. We want the tapes. And I said, no, because of the quality of music, we want to go into CDs. When Facebook came up and all that, YouTube, we're very heavy there on YouTube before it caught on. So even in church, they call me the pastor because we are very much into ICT. Like any innovative thing, we want to tap into it. You get it. And so we anticipate these things, we plan for them, just so that we remain relevant to the people we want to reach. We are very much into youth ministry, and there's no way you can reach the youth
without,
if you are, behaving like a dinosaur. You don't want to adapt to change and stuff like that. So we have welcomed change over the period. Yes, and I must say that it's helped us to reach a lot more people, even before it becomes the main thing. So I've had to help some of my seniors and some of the people I'd looked up to in ministry to also adapt to some of these changes. Because for them, if they're not too sure, so when you tell them that it's fine, I mean, you, you are not getting cassettes or CD hard sales, but if people stream your music, you are going to stay relevant. If people do covers of your music, if you register properly, you are rather going to benefit from it. You know, residual income is coming to you when somebody is doing the work. Many people don't understand it, and so they tend to rather fight that opportunity. But these are people who are getting you to remain on the shelves, the digital shelves, because they are doing your songs and stuff like that. So if you do the due diligence of registering your work and making sure that these platforms, digital platforms, know you and recognize you, then the monies that accrue to you will not be sitting in an escrow account somewhere, but it will come to you.
And please, I'm going to explore this area of yours a little bit because this education I need, and I know some of our young people watching today who want to do music need.
Yeah.
Very, very recent, and I'm saying as recent as this morning, there is a statement out there. I think they're trying to drag Adum Kiki to
Adum
court
Kiki.
regarding his Jatabrua hit song.
Yeah.
Again, I was explaining to them this morning that it was a performance that has gone viral because he was performing it as his program in Kumasi. It's gone viral, and so again, we're going to have this conversation.
Absolutely.
What are the, before I get into what the structures are and what opportunities there are, how have you been able to make sure that you get your royalties? Are you even getting them at all?
I do.
Oh, beautiful.
So my point is, like we're ahead of our time.
Yes.
So I wasn't selling my music, you know, because people bought rights of people's songs and stuff like that, only for them to realize later with the digital revolution that they don't have rights to their own music. But we kept everything, you know, registered these things. At a point, Ghana was blacklisted from some of these platforms because, not because we've done anything wrong, it's just the integrity of our financial system and all that. And so you needed a proxy, somebody outside the country to use their bank account to open an account for you on these digital platforms. And of course, with every new thing, a lot of people got duped as a result because now it's a third party that's getting your money.
See the money and disappear.
You know, but I was fortunate to have somebody guarantee for me to open an account so that I could manage everything that was coming to me. And through our interventions, I ran a conference every year for music artists. We go on a retreat in Ebri. We call it Hefziba Summit. So at these conferences, we teach these things.
Oh, wow.
That, I mean, you need to get registered. You need to register copyright. People are complaining that we are not getting anything. I said register anyway. Because if the system is not working properly, one day it will be corrected. And when it's corrected, you would have wished you had registered.
Yes.
You get it. So there's a lot of residual income that comes in. But you need to register first. You get it. So with this Jatabrua case, for example, I've watched Adum Kiki saying that he has a cover license.
Okay. Oh, so it's true. I was telling the team I haven't seen it.
Yes.
So I'm not going to...
He says he has a cover license. And it's true. You can buy a cover license with or without the permission of the actual person who wrote it. But it doesn't guarantee that you will not have legal issues. Sure. Because the person still owns the rights to the music. But it is fair that you can buy a cover license for... You've done a song, a cover, and you realize that it has potential. So you can buy a cover license so that you can upload it on these platforms. Because without the license, they will not upload it on their platforms because they are also liable to be sued.
Right.
You get it? So that covers them because you have a license to do it. Yes. Now, it behoves on the original composer to have also registered his music. So when you buy the cover license, what it means is that you are stating that I didn't write it, this is the original composer. So the percentage of what comes in should go to the original composer, and the percentage for performing rights comes to me. Now, I can't take the money that belongs to the one who produced the music. or who wrote the music, the composer. But if they don't have records, I mean, these are millions of composers all across the world. So if they don't have records, that money will be sitting in an escrow account of a sort. And then you, the performer, you are the only one getting something from whatever is out there. So there is a challenge there. So if the person feels that you didn't ask permission and you are making money, then they will be aggrieved and they will want some form of reparation for whatever is happening. But the easiest way is for them to also register their work.
Yes.
When you register your work, you sit in the comfort of your home. Somebody from Vietnam does a cover of your music. The algorithms have a way of identifying that, no, this music has been...
original.
Yes. And then you'll be getting returns from your music. Without knowing the very person or even granting the person permission to use your music, you'll be getting returns from the music because you are registered. So the issue here is that if you are not registered, you've sweated, you've done all the work, but others are enjoying. So whatever the case, it starts with registering your music. And Ghana has the Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO.
Yeah.
You need to register with GAMRO because now all the digital platforms recognize GAMRO as a copyright institution in Ghana. You get, there was a time I wanted to register in the UK, and I went all the way, and they said, no, there's one in Ghana, so we cannot register you, so go and register in Ghana. Meanwhile, I didn't want to register in Ghana because of all the propaganda around it, that things are not going well. But they said, no, we cannot, once you have one in Ghana, register with Ghana, then whatever accrues to you will be given to Ghana to give to you. The same way Ghana would also take whatever accrues to us and send. So internationally, that's how it works. So we have to ensure that GAMRO is working properly by being interested. You can't stand outside and criticize. You have to get in and ensure that they are doing what they have to do. You get so that your toil, this can actually be what you will to your children.
Because then it's permanent. I mean, it keeps coming. As long as people are streaming your song, people are using your music, then forever.
For 90 years, it can never be called a public domain song. It's laziness that makes us call songs public domain. But every song has an originator. Somebody who, even if it received from God and it's not written, somebody received it and had the diligence to not keep it to himself, but release it for others to use it. So that person who received it will also benefit from being in tune to receive it and giving it out there for us all to worship with it.
Indeed.
You get it? So you just need to register to start with. Then all the other conversations can continue.
You have played an active role in Musica, and so this knowledge you're sharing with us this morning is clear. What you have done all these years, and again, when you sit with an OG, not like he's an old man, but you know what I'm talking about.
Your father will get you.
Mine is my father. It's okay. I accept. Now I'm giving up. What role were you playing with Musica before we get into it?
So with Musica, I wasn't playing an official role, but when Dinah Hobson was in charge of Musica, I was in a bank at that time, so she used to confer with me a lot. In fact, she was pushing for me to get involved and come and lead. At the time that my friend Bice Obo was also campaigning to, and I said, whatever they do, I'll support them with the knowledge I have and stuff like. But I was more particular with the Christian musicians because of what I had noticed. I had noticed that because some of them came from very humble backgrounds and not all had the opportunity to be educated to a particular point, they were helped and also compromised in the process. You get it? Like I have a song. I need somebody to help me put it out there. So all I'm interested in is that my song is out there. So after a while, then you find that they have issues with their record companies and stuff, because suddenly they realize that it goes beyond the anointing and the call up, come and sing. Somebody is making money whilst they are stressing. Then the breakups begin.
They become very messy.
Become very messy and all that. But I realized that it had to do with information. Because for some of them, with the right information, they will not break up. They will renegotiate a deal,
Yes.
which would have been better.
Yes.
You get it? A friend of mine who helped in my early days came with a proposal. Somebody wanted to buy rights of my music, and said he wants the video rights because the Mokobe, the video clip was doing very well at the time. And people were doing DVDs and VCDs, I don't know if you remember, to sell. And he made an offer. And when I heard the offer, I'm like, oh, big bro, Charlie, this offer there. Then you know what he said? He said, Charlie, bank now bow pow. Just to say that now you understand finance.
So he knew what to do.
He actually knew what to do.
He knew the right thing and was ready to,
You get, and that is what a lot of people have suffered over the period. Because they just want to serve God with their gifts. And then people take advantage of them. We're like, it's not about money. It's not about money. It's true. But later when you realize that, you used to get 1,000 CDs. Later you have some 10,000 in your bank accounts. So suddenly nobody can dangle 2,000 CDs as a carrot in front of you to make you just give up your rights.
Yeah.
And that is when the issues come. Because after signing away their rights for, say, 10, 15 years, when it's time for renegotiation, and they say that, no, I want to take over my catalog, or I want to, go to somebody better, then the other person feels that, after investing in you, you are now leaving me, you are ungrateful, and things like that. But I go with, be kind right from the start. When the person doesn't know their left and right, they will stick with you for life.
Yes, you don't have to do all of that stuff. It's just really sad. Anyway, you have a new one.
Yes, I do.
You have a new one. And so for those who have been waiting for something big from Reverend Nii Okai, well, he has something for you 2026. And I'm sure we're going to be getting more. Tell us about this very new one.
So Hinkese was it was a live recording we did of about 6 songs. And I did it after a long struggle. My all-time producer has been Koda from the very onset. So all the 8 albums has been Koda. So after the passing and everything, it was difficult for me to pull myself into a studio or a rehearsal and stuff. So it was just preaching and one of my sons, who is now a very, very accomplished producer, it's called Sammy Krenzel, said, but Atani, you have to work again. So he pushed, and then last year we yielded, and then we decided to do this recording. So Hinkese is one of the first fruits from that recording, and we released it at Easter because the message talks about the lamb that was slain from the foundations of the world. He alone deserved a blessing. And I featured Namesi, like I said earlier, Namesi, Emoji, and the rest. They were all with me in Nii Okai Ministries. And God has now placed them on the global map, and it's exciting for me. So it's now my turn to now feature them. But it was a blessing working with her and the whole team. And everybody who's heard the song so far is just appreciative of what God is still doing with my ministry.
Awesome. Where can we find this new?
On all digital platforms. Awesome. And streaming sites. On YouTube, the video is there,
It's called what again?
Hinkese.
Hinkese.
Yes.
It's a new song from Reverend Nii Okai featuring Namesi. Awesome. And it's on all streaming platforms. I'm going to sign out this segment with that song. But also, what about this song excites you the most, apart from the fact that you're doing it with your protege? Because I know that really gives you a lot of joy.
No, the simplicity and the feedback that we've received. We did a few videos talking about the workings of the song, and people really appreciated it. So it's giving me some renewed energy to work on the rest of the song so that a 9th album will be in the offing.
Hey,
Yeah.
then we'll get a tent in this year so we can celebrate it well.
Amen. Oh.
Amen. 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 How do we connect with you? I mean, the people watching this morning and
Yes.
they want to follow you on social media. How do
Yes.
we connect with you?
So just like your illustrious producer found me on X, you would find me on almost all the social media platforms. X. I think the only one I'm still running away from is the one my daughter is on.
TikTok.
No, I'm on TikTok now. Snapchat.
Please, go and remove her from that place. I'm advising.
I'm finding it too intrusive. So I'm on TikTok. Yeah. It's, you either see Nii Okai or Nii Okai. You know, TikTok, X, Instagram, and Facebook as well. And then also those who know me via WhatsApp. I do a lot more with my status. You know, sharing scripture, sharing songs, you know, not just my songs, but new songs that are coming up that inspire me. You know, when I was just walking in, I saw one amazing young woman and she's doing great.
Yeah.
So when I see these things, I post them.
Yeah.
Because I was once like them.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to do much more than we are even doing.
Indeed, indeed. I have had such an incredible time here with Reverend Nii Okai. I have enjoyed it thoroughly, this conversation. Thank you so much for gracing my set with your amazing self, and we wish you all the very best. Yeah. We're going to connect with you, of course. With this song, we're going to do our bit to push it, but thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll put in a word with your father to let you sing in the choir.
Please, this message must go to you, Daddy. So allow me to sing. Thank you so much, Reverend Nii Okai. This has been amazing. Yeah. Now, to you out there, I'm going to be leaving you in the very capable hands of Reverend Nii Okai. His new one is Ohin Kese, and I absolutely think that you will love this. Let's jump to it as we do all the time with any song we put up here, especially this one. Haven't you missed him? Guys, Jesus Baby's get in here. Let's do this together. We'll be right back after this.